Hey, what's up everybody? It's the People's Crypto. I'm back again with another video. Now, I must warn you that this video is not necessarily cryptocurrency related. It's not like my previous cryptocurrency news uploads where I've talked specifically about what's happening in the cryptocurrency space. However, I did feel the need to talk about this because this is important. I think it's actually a lot more important than Bitcoin going to 100,000 or $1 million or some other astronomical price that we're all, dreaming about. And the reason why this is important is because we're having a worldwide food crisis. Now, I don't know how severe it may get here in the States, or I don't specifically know if you're in a country already affected by this, but this is becoming a really big problem, and unfortunately no one in the crypto community is really talking about it. Everyone's continuously talking about what coins to get into, or what price Bitcoin might go, the typical stuff everyone talks about. We all love that stuff, and it's the perfect clickbait. So this video was not intended to be that. It's supposed to be something of a warning, or maybe a PSA to bring this to your attention, that we may be having some hard times on our hands, and it may not be due in part to this public health crisis. Now, I'm going to leave the links to all of the articles that I'll be briefly talking about and going through. This first one is from Yahoo Finance / Bloomberg, and this one is No Meat, No Milk, No Bread, Hunger Crisis Rocks Latin America. And this one was just published today. Some of these have varying dates, but I will go through each one of them and I'll point that out to you. But this is to show that we're having a really big crisis here, and it really doesn't matter what prices any of these cryptocurrencies go to if you die from starvation. Because apparently, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy nut or anything like that, but this might have been planned. It might not have been planned. I don't really know. That's for you to decide. Do your own research and you can come to your own conclusion. I'm just bringing this to your attention because if you want to enjoy a $100,000 Bitcoin or a $1 million Bitcoin or a $20,000 Ethereum, it's in your best interest to take any precautions and even prepare yourself to stock up some food, some water, maybe get some weapons because things might get crazy for just, I don't know, for a while. Who knows? Nobody really knows, but I just really thought that it was important that I talk about this because no one else is really talking about this in the space. So let's take a look at the next story. And this one is from the New York Times. It says the other way COVID will kill: hunger. Worldwide, the population facing life-threatening levels of food insecurity is expected to double to more than 250 million people. This story specifically focuses on a couple in Afghanistan where I think the husband makes somewhere along the lines of $5 a day, and they're trying to figure things out because food insecurity in that country is getting out of hand. I'll leave the link to that story in the description. Let's take a look at another story. This one is from Canada, and this was published just a couple of days ago. It says experts say second wave will bring empty shelves, but not because of panic buying. Another story centered around a food crisis, and this is in Canada. Let's take a look at Forbes. This is COVID is expected to be a key driver of acute food insecurity, and this one is a lot older. This one is from April 23rd, 2020. Another story talking about food crisis. And then let's take a look at the next one. And this one is actually from September 24th of this year, just a couple days ago. And this is from art.net. And it says, during lockdown, the Queen's Museum became a food pantry. Now it's reopening and keeping the kitchen intact. And this is right here in New York. where I'm from. So this is just going to show you that there is a food crisis. They're not really talking about it in mainstream media. It's the typical public health crisis, the election, Trump taxes now, the typical stuff. And now let's take a look at this story. This is from the Daily Mail. Australia will run out of homegrown rice by Christmas. And this one was from earlier this month on the 14th. So they're having a rice shortage problem. Another story revolving food crisis. Now let's take another look at the next one. And it says China launches clean plate campaign against food waste. They're also having some issues because I think they're having flooding right now, and that has been wiping out the majority of their crops. So I think there's also a thing where people go on some of their social media websites and they do these like crazy food challenges where they eat a bunch of food. I think that has been completely outlawed now, and they can't do that. And I think you could even get jail time now if you were to attempt to upload a video of you eating a ton of food. Like, it's weird. I guess you would say it's food porn. Strangely enough, but yes, this is back in August. So really, really weird stuff. But let's take a look at the next story. And this one is from the National Post. And it says Kim Jong-un orders North Koreans to hand over pet dogs so they can be used as meat. It says authorities have identified households with pet dogs and are forcing them to give them up or forcefully, confiscating them and putting them down. So, yeah, that's insane. They're eating dogs. Absolutely nuts. But let's take a look at the next story. Alright, so all of those stories dealt with the food crisis. Now, interestingly enough, the Fed wants higher inflation. And I can tell you right now, I have definitely noticed a increase in prices here, at least in New York, in the supermarkets. I think if you wanted a pound of rice, or just like rice, it was $14. Now it's $28. If you wanted a jar of honey, that would cost before anywhere like $6. Now we're looking at $14. So the price of food has been going up. I cannot lie. I've noticed it even with fruits and veggies and a bunch of other things. I've noticed a crazy increase in price. So what I used to spend before in terms of grocery shopping, my bill would be, let's say, $40. Now I'm spending roughly about $75. So I'm trying to cut back. However, because I know things may get worse, I've been getting some extra canned foods and some extra, cases of water, because you just never know when prices might go up higher, and the Fed wants higher inflation. So this is definitely not good, and this is probably not going to end well. And I did an older video. Now this is going to go into some crazy conspiracy stuff, but I did an older video, and it's regarding the Illuminati card game. I know, crazy, completely, this is like, what the hell am I talking about? But I did a video on that, and oddly enough, a lot of those cards kind of predicted or hinted to a lot of the things that's happening now, which was weird. I'm going to include the link to that video because I don't think a lot of people have seen it, but it's just completely weird, and I think they're intentionally planning for a lot of this stuff to happen. It's just really weird, and I'm going to go to the next slide to prove the point. Now, this was one of the cards in the game. A really weird card, but it says New World Order, World Hunger, and then the card says increasingly desperate populations are hunting whales, setting up factory farms and strip mining for scarce resources. Their environment is falling apart and nobody has time to worry about it. There's fires right now in California. There's a bunch of other crazy things that's happening around the globe. Some would even say that, world hunger or hunger in certain parts of the world has always been happening, which is somewhat true, but I just think it's kind of weird that this was in a card game, which is completely weird. I know this is like coming off as like a weird conspiracy video, and that wasn't really my intention. I just really wanted to bring these things together to at least bring it to your attention, because no one in the crypto space is talking about it. Everyone is talking about these outrageously high prices in Bitcoin and, buy this coin or that coin. But to me personally, none of that matters if you are starving or if your family is starving and you don't make it to even see, BTC or any other crypto you invested in go to the moon. So I think preparing and bracing yourself for what may be coming is a lot more important, at least for now. We can worry about the prices and all of these other things going to the moon, later on after we survive or whatever, is coming here. Because whether it's a food shortage or inflation causing the price of foods to skyrocket, that's going to be a problem. And you're going to need food and nutrition, and you're going to need that to be able to see, crypto go to the moon. And unfortunately, nobody's talking about this. Everyone's just talking about, getting into crypto, which is understandable, and what coins you should pick and all of that stuff. It's fine. That's what we do in crypto, but this needs to be addressed, and no one, unfortunately, is doing it. And then let's take a look. And this was just a pretty interesting quote from Henry Kissinger, and it says, "Who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy controls the whole continent. And who controls the money can control the world." So, I mean, that's a pretty interesting quote, if you ask me. But there was just one more thing I'm going to show, and I can't really show this because of copyrights and all that stuff, but I'm definitely going to include the link. This will probably be one of the first links that I'll include, and then I'll include the links to all the other stories that I had. But this is from the Sea Progress, and I believe this is going to sound crazy. This is, I believe, funded by George Soros. If you take a look at the date, this is from December 8th, 2015. So this was 5 years ago. It doesn't really have that many views. It's kind of like under the radar. I did some digging, and it's not really long. The video is only a minute and 3 seconds long, but it's just ironic that it's talking about the year is 2020, and basically the food supply chain is like all messed up, and then there's like a food crisis. And as you can see from the stories that I have showed you, and even that interesting weird card game, that one card kind of hinted towards a food shortage, or a food shortage that's happening now. I don't know if this is going to get worse. I could only imagine that it is. There have been reports of certain food facilities getting, or oddly enough, getting destroyed or catching fire, or something weird happening to it, freak accidents. So, I mean, from my experiences shopping, I've noticed a significant increase in the price of food. I think this is just really important to talk about. No one's going to talk about this in the cryptocurrency space. Unfortunately, everyone's more concerned about things going to the moon and the price of things, or the price of a coin you can get for a relatively cheap price that'll 4x or 100x or whatever. which is cool because, you know, if you're in the space that's what we look forward to. That's what we want. However, in order to enjoy those gains, you need to survive. And it was actually a pretty interesting video with Joe Rogan, and I forgot the guest's name, but he basically said, oh, the apocalypse is coming, and you're going to need at least 1 Bitcoin, which I thought was interesting. However, if this is the start of the apocalypse, you're going to need food. You're going to need maybe even some weapons to defend yourself, because I could only imagine if there's a food shortage here in the city or any other place where there's a large population of people, I can only imagine chaos is all hell's gonna break loose, and it's just gonna probably be Mad Max for a little bit. Maybe, maybe not, who knows? Maybe people just go out in the street and die of starvation. I don't know what's gonna happen. But what I can tell you is, yes, we all know crypto, we're in this whole new asset class and it's gonna go to the moon. We all know that. But in order to enjoy those gains and those returns, I think it's extremely important to prepare for things like this. Now, ideally, I would do a typical video talking about the news and the things that's happening in the cryptocurrency space, but I just felt it was really important to talk about this. No one's unfortunately talking about this in the space, but I've at least witnessed a bunch of food lines where I'm at, and it's ridiculous. Some people look like they haven't eaten in days, and if there's more layoffs, or, you know, if there's no stimulus, and the stimulus thing is an entire joke, because another check for $1,300 is not going to help people who are starving every single day. You'll run through that relatively fast, considering that the cost of, you know, groceries is getting higher and higher. So I'm going to include the links to these videos. I know this has been a really weird video that I've done, but I just thought it was important that I bring this to your attention. I want to at least help someone and warn them of what's to come, instead of the typical we're going to go to the moon talk, which we probably will, but that wouldn't matter if you don't survive what's about to come. And I really hope that this does not happen, but it seems like this is a reality, and this is what's going to happen, unfortunately. Whether it's a food shortage, or we get some sort of hyperinflation event in food prices or in restaurants. It looks like that's what we're headed for. And at least from my experience of shopping, I've already seen that happen now. And hopefully things don't get any worse. And maybe who knows, maybe even sell off some of your crypto assets, unfortunately, to prepare for hopefully not the inevitable. It's a weird video, I know. But let's take a look at the crypto prices. And right now, Bitcoin is $10,731.62, well, 60 cents now. Ethereum is $355.15. Tether is $1 as usual. XRP is 24 cents. Bitcoin Cash is $226.64. Polkadot is $4.45. Binance Coin is $27.10. Chainlink is $10.23. Cardano is 10 cents. Bitcoin SV is $168.60. Crypto.com is 15 cents. Litecoin is 45.44. EOS is 2.57. USD coin is $1. Tron is 2 cents. Monero is 94.76. Well, 78 now. Tezos is $2.26. Stellar is 7 cents. Neo is $20. And Leo is $1.26. And that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you kind of enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe. If you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening on Odyssey, just hit that fire button. Or if you thought the video was garbage, which is fine, hit the that splat button. If you're listening on Library, please share the video with anyone who might find it of interest. And you can follow me on Twitter. If you're looking to make some additional income, I highly recommend you use the Brave browser. I will leave a link to that. You just sign up for it, and you make money as you're surfing the web, doing research on crypto or whatever other things you're into. And that is actually going to do it for this video. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys and gals later.